time, end of the age, ideology?
No, it is. Okay, you know, look, basically every ancient culture has an eschatology. They have an end of the world scenario, so that's a very general question. A few of them seem to be focused on this particular period in time. That would be the Mayans, the Hopi, and the Hindu. The Veda texts talk about a period of time where Shiva, the destroyer, is going to return, and there's going to be, again, the same kinds of concepts, judgments, and so forth. And in the choice, in my book, what I do is I described it, basically that to me, that date to me looks like about 2023. So we're in a period of time here between 2010, 2008, and 2023, where we're going to go through all these shifts and changes. And you know, again, the question is, you know, what exactly is going to take place? Nobody knows, in my opinion, is because we haven't decided yet what we're going to experience. So does that answer your question, or?
And Mike, isn't it true also, though, that every civilization since the beginning of time has believed that it was in end times?
Yeah, well, pretty much has believed that they were in end times. I mean, certainly when the first millennium after Christ rolled over, everybody thought the world was going to end then. We had Y2K, of course. And the difference is at this time, there does seem to be some stuff related to physics, I think, that we can prove out that shows that we're going to shift. But just because we're going to shift doesn't mean anything. I mean, the last time we were in this sort of alignment kind of thing that we've got going on now, that was relatively close to what we have today in 2012, was around the time of the American Revolution. So we had revolutions in France, we had revolutions in the United States, but the world didn't end, it went on. Now the question is this particular alignment a once in 26,000 or once in 13,000 year kind of thing where you can also have big physical shifts, or is it something where you just are going to have cultural shifts and spiritual shifts? And the answer to that is it's up to us to decide. The interesting thing is that this time we can have the physical shifts because of all the stuff that's going on. That's what I think Lewis is finding out. I mean, I think the amount of fear and conflict and greed and stuff that's going on out there, that is feeding the earth changes. And the less of that we have in terms of our thought processes, the less earth changes we're going to have, the less catastrophes, the fewer earthquakes, the fewer Fukushimas we're going to have.
Actually, I want to, could you turn this on? Hello? I want to change this up a little bit. I appreciate the format we've got going on here, but it's a little frustrating. I just want to say that, you know, first of all, I have whistleblower testimony that there is a body in our solar system that is perturbing the sun. Now, whether it's Nibiru or it's a brown dwarf with planets circulating it, I don't know. Apparently, it's very hard to pick up on telescopes, etc., but there is something going on. So what I don't want people to do is lapse into some kind of semi-peaceful coma where they think everything is more or less up to them. It's not, okay? We're in a co-creative venture with this level of reality, and some of these things are happening, and they are going to affect you, and they are going to give you a bad hair day at the very least, and they may rock your world in a much more major way. So I think that we are not looking at a situation where it's just going to be a nice, smooth transition. We are actually going to be in a situation where, for some of us, it may be a smooth transition. For other people, they will be affected drastically as they were in Fukushima. So every day on the planet, we're having major things going on. Some people are not having a great day. And I think that one of the things that it's important to realize is that we do feel the vibrations from those events, regardless of whether they affect us personally, physically, or not. And one thing that I think people ought to think about and maybe ask themselves that I don't hear very often is, how am I going to feel if, for example, Japan as a continent goes under sea level? How am I going to feel that day about having humans die in mass? It's not necessarily a pretty picture. And although there are choices being made by souls to experience these changes in certain ways, form, and fashion, You have to understand it's a two-way street, okay? You elected to be here, and in my view, there are a lot of people here that went through the times of Atlantis, and we are going through the same kinds of drama and chaos that went on then. And there were people in the Illuminati and higher level bloodlines that consider themselves to be pure this and pure that, who were dominating the scene then, and there were races that were at war then that are at war now. And so choices have to be made, and people that made bad choices back in the days of Atlantis are going to change and make better choices this time around. So I just wanted to make it more of a little more of a sort of open forum here, rather than sort of this question answer that goes little kind of slow.
Do you mind, George?
There's an old saying too, out of sight, out of mind. And Kerry, I don't know how many people who don't have friends or relatives in Japan would even notice if that whole entire island sank. You know, it's a strange thing about humanity. I mean, all of you may care, but if you don't know about it, if you don't know anybody specifically there, and it doesn't affect you directly, you don't care. As sad as 9/11 has been to a lot of people, how many of you have been to that site and have witnessed that? Not a lot of you. And so if it wasn't for the media telling you what had happened, it basically would have no effect on you other than what is happening now in terms of your rights and everything else.
That depends whether you consider yourself a multi-dimensional being with a lot of psychic abilities. And you know about that because I know you have a family with psychics, right? So actually, you'd be surprised how much we are affected. And it does affect us even when we don't know it.
I want to say something, with your permission. By the way, I forgot to honor my guest, George Noory. Please, I apologize.
No, don't worry about that.
Give him a big hand. Thank you so much for coming today. You're a busy man and you travel all around, and I thank you, everybody out there. Thank you. Basically, it's my turn about 2012. So, destroyers coming, Planet X, Venus coming with love and humanity and consciousness. That's why Gaia is moving towards Venus and all the females. You guys coming up, the new generation, starseeds, indigos, you're waking up. There are a lot of you guys that will lead this planet, male and female, plus the 5 or 10 million children which they kidnapped and they took out the planets. They're grown up now. They with ET training, they're coming back telepathic with ETs. They will land here very soon. Next 20 years they will be with us, and those new humans will lead the shift as we going through the shift, the pole shift. The pole shift so far is very light, but it might get very aggravated as planetary changes coming through next 5 years. This shift might destroy the Earth or flip the other way. Like Mike said, we might go to 2 timelines of 2 Earths. We suddenly shift to another planet, which is some of us stay here, some of us we suddenly find us in another planet. This is a universal, they call it the twin Earth. There is already people who have experienced that. There is another planet called Earth. They're coming with us. Sometimes we suddenly shift and we don't know. Subconsciously we live a different life. So I might be living in 5 more planets as we speak and have the same entity, same soul, different bodies, and being from Atlantis, I know, and Egypt. So basically, going back to the destroyer, Planet X, for real, we know about that. They're watching it. Even Vatican is watching it with their private observatory, and everybody is, so many scientists being killed talking about different subjects of the scientists who found the Planet X in a car accident, or so many different things. The main thing about 2012 is ET consciousness and human consciousness will shift together, meaning at some point we will join the our brothers and sisters in the universe. Not only face to face, but a real interaction in matter of they will give us a huge technology overnight. They will give us our cell phones will become the kind of, imagine you have some unit that you go like this, you dial and you communicate, you become telepathic over time. And some of us, we already experiencing that. We don't need to make phone calls anymore. Instantaneously, we message each other. This verbal thing is going away as we getting more telepathic, and the humans and the new humans and the indigos, so ETs, so many of them already in here, in the government, in different forces around the world. And there's so much stuff going on that suddenly overnight things might change, and be ready for that. It's a wonderful event. The motherships are already, Ed Grimsley today, he has a UFO with his night vision and camera above California. He has filmed 15 minutes of real video about the UFO war with NASA IFOs or other extraplanetary forces. We don't know which one. So he will show that video. Don't miss that event. And that itself is evidence that motherships are up there. They will pull us up, and there is no fear. They already have a mile-long motherships. The one, the pyramid shape over Moscow. They talked to the premier of Russian premier, and they were, I was told by Russians, and there were a lot of stuff going on, and there is no fear. We will be taken up. Other planets are as good as here. If anything happens on Earth, and if nothing happens on Earth, we still split to two humanities. The dummies will stay here and rule in Washington, and we will go forward.
All right. Thank you, Saeed.